Chris Ash getting them fired up at Rutgers. The Scarlet Knights with a nice foundation back, but of course a disappointing year last season, going 4-8, winning just one Big Ten game. They do lose one of the most dynamic players in the league in Leonte Carew, as well as Steve Longa, kind of a tackling machine. But the big story is the beginning of the Chris Ash era, the Iowa native in the Big Ten, where he's been in a couple of different schools, Wisconsin and Ohio State, and now getting to run a team for the first time. And we're so pleased to have Chris Ash with us. And Coach, you were saying, hey, this is fun for me. A lot of guys look at this as drudgery, but your first time through it, the first time to be at that podium, to answer questions as a head coach, what has this been like?
It's a great event. I love the energy and the excitement as we get ready to start the college football season. The big open media session was actually relatively easy. I thought there would be some tougher, more challenging questions, but it went really smooth. And as I was walking down the hallways, I crossed paths with Pat Fitzgerald, and he's like, wait till 10 years later, and we'll see if you're liking this. So, but it's fun. I'm enjoying it.
Coach, we're happy you enjoy it. Howard's really the only one that's been negative about you and what you've done.
I hear him. I hear him talk. I won't make it 10 years if I do what Howard says.
I'll keep you posted. You obviously came from a defensive side of the ball. You worked for Brett Bielema, who's, for no choice of words, a pro formation guy. Then you work for Urban on the defensive side, but you watch him run the spread. You go to Rutgers and you decide to run the spread. Why?
Two reasons. I went against that offense every day in practice. I know the challenges it creates and presents for a defensive coach and a defensive staff as you get ready to game plan. And the other one was the players that we could recruit to that offense in our region. We're going to focus our recruiting efforts in the Northeast. I think there are tremendous skilled players in that area that want to be a part of our offense and can excel in our offense. And those were really the two reasons. Brett and Urban's philosophy are different in how they align and how the tempo that they use to run their offense. But at the end of the day, there are some things that are similar. They want to be dominant at the line of scrimmage, and they want to run the football. And we're going to do that, but we're going to do it with different sets.
Would you possibly have run the pro if it was a different job?
Absolutely. I think for me as a coach, through my journey, I have recognized the fact that you don't do something just because you want to do it. You have to look at the area you're in, the elements that you're going to play in. What can you recruit to at your university year in and year out to give yourself a chance to be successful?
Coach, anytime you go into a new situation, but specifically this one, sometimes you talk about culture changes and you want to bring in your own identity. How do you go about doing that to get the guys to buy in?
Yeah, the first thing that we did is we defined what culture was and what we wanted our culture to be, and we constantly communicate that with our players. It's not a sign we just slapped up on the wall and said, hey, this is what we want to be. It's through constant communication, education, and motivation, recognizing and rewarding those individuals that demonstrate the characteristics that we want in the culture that we're trying to build. And that's really, that's a never-ending process. It happens all the time, and we talk about it every day.
Most days when your staff breaks up into offense and defense, how have you decided which side of the ball to sit in on?
I'm in the defensive meetings. I'm a defensive coach. I think that's where I can provide the biggest impact for our program. People ask me what we need to do to have success at Rutgers. We've got to play great defense, and that's my expertise, that's my background, and that's what I'm going to be involved in.
One of the things this team has always been known for, going back a long time, is toughness. Mm-hmm. What's going to be the next identity? Toughness plus what is going to equal success for you?
We talk a lot about toughness. We talk about the effort, and we talk about execution. You can be as tough as you want to be, but if you don't play hard and you don't execute the call that you need to execute, you're not going to have a chance for success. So you can't just have one without the other. You can't just go hard and not be able to execute and be tough. You can't just execute, not go hard, not have toughness. So we need to have all three.
You mentioned in your press conference how hard everybody was working and what the work ethic should be, but you also said, unless it's fun, then we're missing the boat. Tell us some of the things that make practice and hard work fun. What are some of the things you're doing?
Well, for us, competition is at the core of who we are and what we want to be. So we are installing competitive events throughout the course of a week. For an example, this summer we've started an arm wrestling competition before team meetings. Players love it. They don't know who's going to get called out, but we call them out, and a player has to come down in front of the group, and they've got to get ready to perform. The players love it. It's created a really energetic environment to start meetings. I went out to visit with Pete Carroll in the Seattle Seahawks here in June, and they had a basketball hoop in their team meeting, and they start off with a shoot-off before their team meeting. We implemented that into our team meetings also. So we're trying to find opportunities that we can create competitive environments, but also have fun at what we're doing. And it shows us who's got competitive spirit and who can get ready for that moment to go out and perform.
quarterback battle that's going to be brewing. 3 or 4 guys that are going to be competing for that job. Taking care of the football is always going to be important. What else is going to be important for the guy that's going to be able to take the first snaps under center in that first game?
We want a quarterback that everybody in the organization trusts. The players and the coaches can trust that he can go out and do his job and lead the offense the way he needs to lead them. We want a quarterback that's committed to being the best that he can be. It means he understands what he has to do to put in extra time to learn the offense. And we want a guy that can go out and move the sticks and have production.
Coach, you've been around a lot of really good teams, and part of that equation is always going to be talent. I mean, everyone knows you've got to bring in talented guys in order to win. But what other qualities have you seen in the successful teams that you've been a part of that you want to instill in your program?
It starts with leadership. We've got to have the right type of leadership. It's not just a captain selection that you do in training camp for most teams. It's about the year-long leadership that you get from the players at each position. It's not just, again, about 4 captains. It's each position group has to have the right type of leadership so they can go out and behave and perform at a high level. That's the number one thing that we're trying to get created and build when you talk about our program, is that leadership aspect of it. The other things, it's sacrifice and commitment. You know, you can have talented players, but are they willing to commit to be the best that they can be and make the sacrifices needed to get there? And not everybody does.
What encouraged you the most in the spring that you saw in this program that led you to believe maybe you're headed in the right direction?
The actions of the players. We talked a lot because of the off-the-field issues that had happened at Rutgers in the past. Nobody was really concerned about us winning games, or more concerned about the way that we behave and conduct ourselves, how we handle our business. And I was really pleased with the way the players behaved, conducted themselves, and bought into what we're trying to do. And I'm really excited about the leadership that we've been able to generate here in a short amount of time.
One of the big issues at Rutgers is always going to be recruiting and trying to lock up the state of New Jersey. There's been a lot written about it in this offseason about different programs trying to get a foothold there, you trying to maintain the ability to recruit well in the state. I know you have a lot of New Jersey guys on the roster right now, and you've done well based on early returns. But what has that process been like for you of trying to lay that recruiting foundation in the state?
Yeah, that was one of the first questions in the whole interview process. What can we do to recruit the state of New Jersey at a high level? Because if we keep those players close to home, we're going to have a chance to compete with anybody in our league and anybody in the country. And it all started for us in our plan is to fix the culture in the locker room. If we can create an environment that our players are getting developed at a high level, they're getting taken care of at a high level, they're getting set up for life after football at a high level, they would in turn go out and be our best recruiters, and we would become a spot that people in the state of New Jersey want to be a part of. And so far, the culture that we've created, the environment that we've created, the way we've developed our players in a lot of areas, they've begun to become our best recruiters, and the returns, as what you mentioned, have been good so far.
How will you measure success this year, Coach?
I want us to be able to establish an identity. Are we going to be a physical, hard-nosed football team that competes for 4 quarters? I want us to be able to play our best football at the end of the season. If we can do those things, the wins will come. It's not about wins and losses for us right now, but we want that identity established, and we want to have a competitive football team that plays for each other.
There you see the schedule ahead of the Scarlet Knights, including that September 10th date with Howard. Howard.
By yourself?
All by myself.
Really? After the bad things you've said about Coach Ash.
After all these years, you're going to badmouth him, huh?
He'll have his
Never
team
believe
ready.
DiNardo.
Howard, he'll have his team ready. He will have his team ready.
No doubt.
Chris Ash, the head coach of the Scarlet Knights. Coach, first of all, congratulations again on getting the job. We look forward to working with you more here at the network, and best of luck this season. Thanks for spending a few minutes with us.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate your time.
So that is Chris Ash at